What's up guys? I haven't made a video in a while, and so kind of shifting gears. I've been rebuilding a 302 engine for a 9.5 Mustang, and meaning to film some of the installation and what I've been doing, but I haven't gotten around to it. So I'm about to do the oil pump, and so I'm about to prime it with some of this oil and just pour it down in this hole, which is the connects to the pickup, the oil pickup, and then goes up into the engine. The primer, I'm just gonna pour a little bit of oil in there and turn it over. No big deal, but just gonna kind of do it till it comes out the topper. So there's a fair amount of oil in there. Either way, that's the right way. Might be the wrong way. There we go. Alright, pour some more. Go into the oil pump and the timing chain. There we go. It's coming out the top. That's what I wanted to see. Alright, that's good. So this is a new oil pump. This is the old one. Very dirty, very nasty. Got a new oil pump. Dripping a lot. New oil pump shaft as well. One of those things you don't have to per se replace. Like, if yours is in good shape, you don't necessarily have to replace it. But a lot of times it's a good idea to go ahead and replace it. Just clean up. Kind of go ahead and clean up the stuff. Let's clean it up. Just give you a little peace of mind. Wow, that spilled a lot of oil. Okay, we're not going to do that again. Way too much oil. My brain is going. So it's just a good idea to do it. You don't have to do it. You're supposed to do it if it's worn down, and I just completely forgot to put that shaft on there. And I'm like, wow, put way too much oil in there. It's spilling. You probably can't see this actually. Yeah, I said it. You can't really closer, but you see the oil's kind of spilling out all over it. So we'll stick it kind of here. Kind of take off the bolts again. Ooh, wow, that's stuff on there. Just like a pinch or some crap. Not going as planned, but you know, nothing does. Alright. Wow, that's soaked the gasket. That's not good. We'll clean that up and reevaluate in a second. Alright, let's set you back over here. So you have your oil pump shaft, which puts onto here and turns the oil pump. You have to put that spot in the engine. It's a real pain to demonstrate where it is in the engine, so we're not gonna do that. Actually, I'm gonna pause this for a second so I can clean up the mess I just completely made. Alright, so I'm back. Cleaned up the mess from the oil. So what you're gonna want to do, I think you'll be able to see it well from over there, but I'm just gonna flip it over, try to line everything up, not dump oil everywhere like I did last time. Make sure everything kind of lines up. There we go. We have to wiggle it a little bit. So this is supposed to be torqued down to 30-something foot-pounds, I believe. I have my handy book. 22 to 30 pounds. We'll probably just round it to 30 because I don't really want to do an odd number. But these should be like half-inch bolts, I think, or something like that. Wow, it's getting really hard. It's fun to torque these down now. Okay. But so with most bolts, you want to torque them down. If not, you'll end up breaking the head of the bolt off. Had that happen a couple times in the past couple days, the past couple weeks or so. So, bit of advice there. Look it up, find a safe number. I have a Haynes manual. Any kind of shop manual like that will do. If you don't have a torque wrench, if you don't have a torque wrench, you can just kind of play it by ear. Be careful because you don't want to over torque anything. That can, as I said, break stuff, and breaking stuff is never a good thing. What the heck? Okay, tightened. There it is. Okay. Okay, so this will go on. We're having to get an extension. Sorry, I'm a bit distracted, but as I was saying, it's usually a good idea to have some kind of manual if you're doing any kind of work, but that should be obvious. But if it's not, word of warning. Broken bolts. Known people break bolts. The other thing with breaking bolts, sometimes you break a bolt simply because that's not the way to do this at all. Okay, we're going to switch to a universal joint. Put it on. So, universal joint kind of. Oh my goodness. This is terrible. Terrible. So this is not, because of the setup of it, it's not good for torquing it down. Probably won't actually do it on this one because I don't have a good way to torque it down and get an accurate torque reading from from the torque wrench. So instead we're going to just use a normal wrench and do it, which is not recommended, but fortunately sometimes it is called for. As I said, don't recommend this by any means, but sometimes you have to torque things down by hand because you can't get a torque wrench in there, don't have the number, don't want to go through the effort to do it, whatever. I've seen a gazillion reasons. Or don't have an accurate torque wrench. That's probably the more common one. Don't have an accurate torque wrench to do it. Actually, let's go back and try it again. Just because I don't really want to leave it like it currently is. So, I'll explain kind of what this motor is. It's a 302 pushrod. It's out of a 95 Mustang, the last generation of the pushrod small block Ford 302. It's the last year they had one of those. Whoa, okay, never mind. This one had severe piston scarring. One of the pistons had chunks missing out of it. Another one was falling apart. Had a bad heavy gasket, and so I pulled it apart. Took it to the shop. It's bored 30,000 over, which makes it like a 306 or something like that. It has a stock crank in it. Crankshaft. It was polished, which means it's basically stock bore. Stock stroke. Excuse me. All that fun stuff. So the next thing I'm going to install is the oil catch. I use the same one because it was expensive for like no apparent reason to buy a new one. Like, let me It's probably $20 to $30 to get a new one, and it's not worth it because to me, for this case, I looked at it and it looked fine. The oiling system was fine. I didn't spin a bearing or anything like that, which would have been a sign of low oil. So I just said there's no point in replacing it. So I just kept with the old one. Had a bunch of gasket stuff that I was trying to clean off. Didn't come off too well, but it's not 100% critical. This isn't like a head gasket where you, like, if it doesn't seal correctly, it's gonna be bad. I mean, I'm sure somebody would be like, no, it's really important. I mean, yeah, it's good to have it seal right, but it's not the end of the world. It doesn't seal like 100% right. That's not good. Okay. It also mounts to the has a this thing connects to the oil pump and the main bearing cap bolt right there. I don't know if y'all can see that. It has this cap bolt that it connects to. You have to make sure it's lined up with all those things. But also it made it interesting getting that specific main cap bolt off and torqued down because you need a deep socket for that. And I don't have a whole bunch of deep sockets, so just kind of played it by ear. So I don't remember. I torqued it down. I don't remember how exactly I did that. I may have just been able to do it with a normal socket. I don't actually remember that one. So back to torquing this down. I think this is like 20 again. Well, 20 to 30. This one we'll put at 20. So I'll tell you a couple things. If you're torquing something down, extensions, not good. It distorts the torque you're applying to specific bolts. But in a case like this, when you have a pipe that's blocking it, and you, well, we'll try it, but probably can't get to it, or can't get to it because of the bigger head on this. You have to. Well, this one worked. But sometimes you have to use an extension. Extensions are not good. It means the torque rating will not be as accurate as it could be. This bottom one, yeah, I'm going to have to use it because of it. So as I said, it's not good, but sometimes you have to do it. I didn't never exactly explain it. Because of the extension, your torque reading here may not be the actual torque because of the twisting of the extender. That doesn't exactly explain it. It basically means that you're not, say it's 20 foot-pounds like this one, you're not actually applying 20 foot-pounds to that bolt head. You're applying a little less. You can probably look it up and figure out what how much you're actually making to it. I'm not motivated to do that, so it sounds really lazy, but that's just kind of where I am. I'm not gonna fool with doing that. I could, but to me it's no point. So I painted the oil pan. It's forward blue. I'll probably put a video on installing that, but I can't, or I won't install it right now because you have to put the main cap, the main timing chain cover on and water pump to get the seals right, the front main seal. So I'm gonna install the timing chain. It'll be the last thing I do tonight, or do right now. The timing chain and sprocket and all sorts of stuff. I may have to take a break because I have a couple of things I have to do about it. Everything's stuck in there right now. Oh, there we go. I have to make sure I'm doing it right 100%. I have to clean up some stuff. This main sprocket, for example, I have to make sure I'm back bottom. So it goes on there. Yeah, that's weird. Supposed to clean it with. Supposed to clean all that stuff with mineral spirits, or acetone. I have mineral spirits I'm going to use. So I don't know if I'm going to show you all that. I guess I could. I put in a new cam. This is the cam crankshaft. Should be basic for most people, but it's not. New cam. This is a Comp Extreme Energy. If anyone cares to know the actual specs, I can post them. But this is the new cam. It is not. Typically, there's a what is referred to as a dowel. I guess it's a dowel. This is what it looks like. It goes right in this hole right here, and just let me make sure it doesn't really matter. Just installs. This goes. You want, so for reference, you want this pin, which is the upper timing mark, and this dial, which is the timing mark for the cam, to be facing each other. I want them, this crankshaft to be facing completely vertical, which is 12 o'clock, and this to be facing 6 o'clock, or straight down. I'm going to have to look at this closer, make sure it's right, or at least close. Then this is the back plate I have to clean. So go up here. And this is the cam plate bolts. Well, yeah, it's kind of not cam, it's kind of the cam plate. It's supposed to kind of, I guess, keep the cam in place. Just kind of installing it. I'll do this when I can. I don't actually know what socket size this is. It's off my head. Actually, look at that. Where is that? There it is. Screw up the front. Yeah, there we go. Right. These shouldn't be. My book doesn't give a rating for them, so it doesn't give a rating. Just kind of hand tight, not super tight by any means. You just want it to be, because this is going to have it's going to have a timing gear, I guess the best way to describe it, over it. They say it's a sprocket. It's a sprocket for the chain, and that is going to really keep it in place. So here is the timing gear. Alright, so I tested up, made sure both sprockets fit on. Crankshaft sprocket, timing gear, whatever you want to call it. So the crankshaft goes on, chain with this. Well, I read didn't say anything about putting oil on it, which this kind of makes sense. You don't need to, that's not right. Make sure the dowel pin and everything line up. Yeah, that pin kind of, make sure it's all aligned. I guess we should, I'm going to actually put these on together now I think about it. Actually chain and everything kind of go together and kind of set them all back together.
Okay, that'll work. So we will not too worried about how far the sprocket's going because you put a bolt. That's wrong. You put a bolt over. Can't create.
So, the issue is you're having to line them up, make sure they're both going on straight, going on at about the same time, so you have the right amount of tension in both. If it's got it on. The other one better size. So. So we want to check to make sure crank shaft. Actually, we're going to take this off. So while I'm looking at it now, I'm just kind of seeing that a couple things. One, we're going to put this longer dowel pin in. I just don't want that to be a weak point. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Comp sent 2, for whatever reason. All my valve stuff I got from Comp. But so what I'm running into is this the alignment mark on the crankshaft doesn't look like it's completely straight up, so I'm going to have to flip the engine over and kind of correct that, so to speak.
No.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little better, but so why this matters is that they're not timed up just right. When your valves are off with your pistons, you could end up. That actually looks pretty good. We're gonna leave it like that. Back to putting these on for another couple minutes. Making sure everything lines up. But again, this matters because this is what tells your valves and your heads, you know, hey, you should open now. Hey, you should be open. Or, okay. This keeps your valves in your head, your cam all aligned and in tune, so to speak. Keeps them moving at the same time, synchronized together. But so, the cam dictates when your valves open. Valves let air and fuel in. And And if they're off by any significant amounts. Okay, it's done. This is the right ball, right? Yeah. Okay. This is the crankshaft bolt, or yeah, that was right. Crankshaft bolt. Can't put that on because we need timing cover and like a harmonic balancer and a whole bunch of crap to go on it first. So this is the crank camshaft bolt because of the sprocket. If we want to use some stuffed mineral spirits to clean it, kind of get some gunk off, and we'll put some thread lock on it. And this is the lower thread lock stuff. So for thread lock, you want, there's different levels. Different levels mean how impossible do you want to be able to get out. This is kind of one of the lower ones, kind of the, you can get it off with the pry bar kind of thing. There's a level which is like you have to get it off with fire and cut it out or something like that. Didn't want that. It's not what you want for you know, your camshaft bolt. You want to, if you ever want to change out your cam again, you want to be able to take it out. So I guess you could just take all the I guess you could just take the gear out, but if you did it on both of them and you couldn't get either one of them out, you'd have to like slide it all together off, and you could, it would just be a real pain for like no apparent reason though. So I wouldn't recommend that. So this one goes up to, this is supposed to go to camshaft sprocket, 40 to 45 pounds. Camshaft thrust plate. This is the camshaft thrust plate to engine blocks. Pretty sure that's for different, for like the 6 liters, because that the one plate I did put on is like little bitty bolts and 108 to 144 inch-pounds. Nope, that probably was it. Oh well. I don't do inch-pounds. Inch-pounds are a real pain, and I'd rather not fool with them. You can. So that plate that I put on that I said you didn't come with the torque rating, it did. That was me being dumb and not reading. 108 inch-pounds. Do the math about it at 12, and it will give you the foot-pounds, because my torque wrenches aren't in inch-pounds, so I would not fool with that. Oh, I forgot Loctite. Loctite can be great, also you're a pain. Alright, now I'm putting thread lock on there. Not that blue. Oh shoot, that wasn't good. Okay. Way more liquidy than I thought it was going to be. This is 44 inch-pound, or excuse me, foot-pounds. So we're going to do that up in 3 stages, or 40 to 45, 3 stages would be 15 pounds, so we'll do 15. So, from what I've read, it's kind of, I guess, up to your opinion. One thing said that you should always go to the max torque spec on if you are reinstalling something. So that was what one guy said. It kind of makes sense because you understand that the bolts are being stretched. I'm gonna do this. Don't have to, but it's kind of recommended to do this when you're tightening something. Or when you're torquing something down in case something breaks. So when you're putting a bolt in, you're not replacing it. You probably want to go ahead and go to the maximum because it's been put in. It's somewhere in that torque range, and it's already been stretched. So you want to kind of push it to the max that it's said to be okay. Obviously. That was interesting. The crankshaft just popped forward a little bit to its kind of final place. This is at like 15 foot-pounds, right? A long time, jeez. Now to 30 foot-pounds. That's what I'm going to do. 30. $15, $30, $45. And then 45 foot-pounds. I'll double check that before I torque this 45 foot-pounds. I was torquing down some bolts on a different vehicle and I broke off one of the bolts at what was said to be the torque spec to use. Now it wasn't given by the manufacturer or for that specific car, so I learned the hard way. Don't trust every torque reading you see or read. This makes me really nervous. We'll do this. We'll go back down to 40, see if we hit that. But so, okay, it's at least at 40 foot-pounds. That's good. It's good enough for me. So that's how you install an oil pump and a timing chain on the 95302. A couple interesting notes is not all push rod 302s are the same. Some pistons, heads change, a lot of little stuff. For example, a couple of major examples I know for a fact why you have to specify if you have a 302 or any engine, you should pay very close attention to the differences, changes in them.
That's not good.
Sorry, the crankshaft was offset forward and that's not good. So as I was saying, there are differences between engines, 302 engines. So this engine was developed in the early 60s for Le Mans racing, from what I've read. Either way, it was developed in the early 60s. It's been in Mustangs. It was in the Mustang since then. It was used for 40 years by Ford until I think the early 2000s they actually stopped using it in, I think, trucks. But so this, so some of the differences. The earlier ones up until the 80s, yeah, it was the late 80s, I think. They had a two-piece rear main seal, back of the engine. That's something to note. And then also the crankshaft, you have a harmonic balancer. Up until that point, it was a 25 ounce out of balance. After that, it was 25 pounds, and that also means the flywheel is, it's 50 pounds out of imbalance. And the back one was the same, and the flywheel is the same way. And so you have to be careful so you don't buy the wrong one and it doesn't balance your engine right. So there's those. And so you need to be careful when you're buying parts to make sure it will fit your engine correctly, in case they changed up little things. So from the most part, it's the same engine. A lot of parts you can share. You can share heads. You can share a lot of those things. But there are little things you have to be careful for when picking parts for any engine. That's the example for this engine. LS is a lot of stuff shares, but you have to be careful to make sure you have the right part for the job. Do a little research, make sure everything's right. A couple other things. Let's just say this is a little funny thing that happened. The pistons, which are there, these are Speed Pro, more light, Speed Pro forged pistons from Summit Racing, came part of a rebuild kit. They're really nice, really cool. I asked a question about 2 or 3 months ago, at least over 2 months, probably 2.5 months ago, about whether you need to rebalance your crankshaft. They said, no, it's fine. Oh, well, excuse me, they didn't say that. I looked up online and said, it's not that big of a deal. When I finally got an answer after I asked that question, they said, yeah, it needs to be rebalanced. I already have them in the engine. I'm not pulling them out to have somebody rebalance them because you took 2 months to answer. It is what it is. If you want to read online, it's not that big of a deal unless you're hardcore racing. This engine might see some racing, but it's not going to be a hardcore race engine. It probably will not in this lifetime see that. So there's that. What else was I say about that? So yeah. So in theory, you should rebalance the crankshaft because the rotating assembly of the pistons connection rod are different. So all that system, the harmonic balancer and the flywheel, are all set up to keep it from becoming out of balance and vibrating. 50 ounce imbalance, as long as you kind of keep it all together, which I'm going to, it shouldn't really vibrate too much, as I said, unless you're high RPMs for a long time and heavy on it. It shouldn't. We'll see. As I said, it really shouldn't. I don't think it will affect it because it's not an extreme motor. Not going to push a whole lot of power. Not going to push a whole lot of hard. Well, it may see some hard stints. We'll see, but not really planning on super hard stints. But a little tangent, a little random, but figured you out. The little interesting thing I was going to share behind thought process behind it. I'm going to post more videos as I finish it up. This engine will be painted, I'll go and show you that. Will be painted Ford blue. It will end up being this color. This is the oil pan. If you were doing this right, you'd probably have cleaned up the oil pan better than I did. I kind of tried to sand it and whatnot. I didn't. I kind of just practiced with the spraying on it. Didn't do a good job, but it goes under the car. No one's going to really see it. It doesn't really matter. I painted it to get some practice, see how it looked. I like it, and kind of put it, protect it because it had some rust spots, even though I didn't get off all the rust to it. But if the oil pan goes bad, I'll buy a new one. They're not that expensive. I just didn't want to spend the money this time. That's not that, I mean, it's important, but not super critical. Let's see. So the engine's going to end up being that color once I get everything buttoned up, and then I'll cover it in spray. should look interesting, to say the least. But that's it. I'm out. Be looking for some more videos. Should be interesting.